Here's a question for you. What might a non-native speaker of English find curious about the following sentence? I have the right to demand that you use the right pronoun. Someone who doesn't know the language at all may be left puzzled by hearing the same word twice in the same sentence. Now let's take the case of someone familiar with the language who spontaneously understands the sentence. They may wonder about how and why the culture of the language has maintained a link between these two instances of the term right. The only people who are never left wondering are native speakers, the same people who are likely to get into a vehement debate about the issue it expresses. This is the effect of familiarity. They are so used to these words in a variety of contexts that they rarely, if ever, reflect on the possible conceptual link between them. And yet we, as members of a common linguistic culture, would do well to think deeply about what the word right means to us. But before looking at the complex question of the meaning of right, let's try a similar experiment. Think about the difference between the noun and the adjective light. Does this seem logical to you? Is there a conceptual connection between the two? And does it really make sense? In the cases of both right and light, most other languages avoid confusion. In French, the light you see is la lumière, and the sensation of something that is light is léger for the masculine and légère for the feminine. Oh, and by the way, that distinction between masculine and feminine has nothing to do with sexual identity. In German, however, the noun is Licht and the adjective is leicht. In other words, German supplied English with the model for associating the two, but it nevertheless took the trouble to keep them distinct. The word for the right to something in French is le droit. It also happens to be the word for law, in the abstract sense. The French adjective corresponding to right in English is quite simply a word shared by both languages, correct. But the French offer two common alternatives, exact and just, which derives from the notion of justice, which itself came from the Latin word for law. But does a French pupil getting the correct answer on a test have anything to do with justice? In any case, this example should enable us to see a pattern similar to the simultaneous cultural association and disassociation in English of the right to do something and the right answer. The point of this kind of reflection on ordinary language and its function in precise cultural contexts is to enrich the debate about any of the terms and concepts we find it hard to agree on, including, perhaps at the top of the list, pronouns. By the way, you have the right to contest any statement we made which you think is not quite right. We invite you to join Fair Observer's crucible of collaboration. Offer us your own thoughts by writing to us at this address, dialogue@fairobserver.com.
Join the conversation at Fair Observer and subscribe to our YouTube channel.